Hey everybody, I'm an addict called Justin. I'm going to speak to you about where addiction has led me, what it took me, where it took me, where I've been, where I've gotten to, and where I'm going from here. Uh, Basically, it took me to homelessness, took my family away from me, it took my material items. I never had a chain around my neck when I was in active addiction. I never had a hat on my head. Um, I didn't have um, rings on my hands, watch on my wrist, a cell phone to my name. Um, didn't have anything like that because my addiction took this from me, left me with nothing, left me homeless, hopeless, and in a state of chaos, a state of a mind that only one who could have lived the life of addiction would know and understand. I was, um, quite frankly, I hated the world. I wanted death and destruction. I wanted to die myself, but I was too coward to kill myself. So I had to live a life of loneliness. And like I said, I was homeless. I lived under a bridge for nearly 2 years for my addiction. My addiction gave me absolutely nothing. It gave me a sense of, yeah, that's a lie because it gave me a sense of um, comfort within myself because I was always discomfortable and I was always uncomfortable in situations, social situations, and scenarios of which I didn't fit in because I was different from other people. I'm what they call an empath. I have empathetic abilities. Um, I can be, I can look a man in the eyes and I can know his tuition, what he's going to do, and what he's about to do, what he feels, thinks, how he what his intentions are in another human being. I know immediately when I look at that man. I was born with this gift. It came from the genetics of my father and my mother. The two of them combined, I think, gave me this gift. It's called empath. It's just a high sense of empathy and sense hypersensitivity. Um, I was alone for many years in my addiction. I suffered from uh, lots of anxiety, lots of lonely nights, lots of suffering amongst peers. I would be in a room full of people, but I felt alone. And I felt comfortable in homeless shelters because I was so broken that I was around broken people. Being around broken people made me feel more comfortable. Give me a moment, please. Being around broken people made me feel more comfortable, and I was able to um, I was able to fit in better when I was at a homeless shelter. But like I said, when I lived under that bridge for 2 years in the winter and in the summer, I survived. I was in pure survival mode every day. I was losing things. People would steal my things. If I would have to go get my methadone. I was on methadone for years. Methadone's a bad drug to be on, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Other people it works for. It doesn't work for me for the fact that when I take it, my next thought is how can I get more high? I get a euphoric feeling from it, and I want to get more high. So essentially, I want to come off it. I'm down to a dose now that's basically the starting dose of it, and I'm coming off it as quickly as possible. I'm in a safe environment to do that, and that's what I'm going to do. Um, I want to share a little bit about and more about what happened. So basically, I was jailed, put in jail because I couldn't stop stealing, couldn't stop. um, evading the police, skipping court dates, more or less missing court dates because I didn't care about them. And I would steal cars, get in high-speed chases, escape, and go on the run for a while. And then I would escape custody, just craziness because of my addiction. My addiction was the root cause of all these actions that I'm talking about because me sober, like I said before, I'm an empath, I'm a good person, I care about people, I have high empathetic abilities where I care so much that it it's hard to for me to express how I feel because I care so much. So basically, my addiction, it took me to a place of hatred where I learned to hate the justice system. I learned to hate the criminal law. I hated the police because they kept putting me in jail. I hated my family because they abandoned me. They left me alone. And I hated people because they kept stealing from me. So basically, I was full of hatred. So when I was placed in jail, I was in jail one time, and I'm going to tell a brief story about being in jail. And this guy came on the unit. His name was Chris, and Chris, everybody got along with him, but I wanted to read his paperwork because I was suspicious about this guy. I found him very weird, and so I read his paperwork and what he did. One of the charges was brutally torturing a cat to death. And when I read that, I broke his face and I beat him badly. I couldn't stop. He also intimidated an older elderly lady and tried to rob her, attempted to rob her. And so I wasn't too fond of Chris. And Chris got a bad beating by me that day. And that day was a bad day for him. And the jail's guards came on the unit, tried to put me in the hole. I wouldn't go to the hole. I refused. So therefore, they pepper sprayed me, and that didn't stop me. I fought with them, and I fought with them, and I fought with them, and then eventually they tased me, pepper sprayed me, tased me, and got me uh, handcuffed and shackled, and they transported me to a different jail with a special handling unit because I was deemed too violent to be around other inmates. So they put me in a special handling unit. Now I'm a good guy and I care about people. So they're putting me in a place of where there's murderers and there's serial killers, serial rapists, and bad criminals. They're putting me in that type of environment. Why I don't I be I it's beyond me. I read Buddy's paperwork and he tortured a cat to death. I beat him. Any normal human being would have done the same if any animal lover anyways. I'm an animal lover. I'm an animal lover, a huge animal lover. And this guy brutally tortured a cat, so I beat him. And I had to go to the SHU special handling unit for 6 months. And for me to go there over that for 6 months was just, I thought it was nonsense. And I thought it was pathetic that I had to go there because I know who I am. And for me to have to go to that type of environment was just wrong in my eyes, in my view. Um, so anyways, let's fast forward it a bit. I get out of jail, I go to a homeless shelter, I'm released to a homeless shelter, and then I go back to Nova Scotia because this is all in New Brunswick where this jail thing took place and the homelessness took place. Go back to Nova Scotia, get an apartment there, get off the streets, and then get back into drugs again. So it's back to the same routine. Then I become homeless, and then end up in the hospital. So they found out in the hospital that I'm misdiagnosed. So I was diagnosed as a sociopath in New Brunswick, but they said I'm misdiagnosed and I'm actually schizoaffective with bipolar type and ADHD. And they must have misdiagnosed me because they cut me off the benzos too quick and I was being aggressive and violent towards the doctor because he wouldn't give me my clonazepam. Anyways, so this misdiagnosis led to a great thing to me because now I'm in a safe environment. I'm in an environment of safety, security, and there's people around me that are like me. And I am a loving human being who's around loving human beings that are similar to me and in the similar position that I'm in. Um, so I'm taking it one day at a time. I got 4 months clean, sober, and I'm doing well. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. Thank you for listening to my story, and thank you. Carry on with your evening, and God love you. Let's say the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you. Have a good night.